Listen carefully. Being a smart woman has nothing to do with degrees, money, or how loud your confidence looks on social media. Some of the most educated women live exhausted, anxious, and spiritually empty lives. Meanwhile, others move quietly, protected, focused, and unshaken, not because life is easy, but because they follow rules most people ignore. These rules don't make you popular. They make you dangerous to chaos. They make you unexploitable. They make you internally strong even when the world is loud. If you follow these 7 rules, your life changes. If you don't, intelligence won't save you. Rule 1. A smart woman protects her time ruthlessly. A smart woman understands something most people learn too late. Time is the one thing you never get back. Money can return. Opportunities can come again. People can change. But time only moves in one direction. Every minute wasted is a piece of life gone forever. That's why she treats her time like something sacred. She doesn't feel the need to explain herself endlessly. She doesn't write long justifications for why she can't attend, reply, help, or show up. She understands that over-explaining is often a sign of guilt, and guilt is a tool people use to keep you available. Instead, she keeps her responses simple and clear. A calm, "I can't," is enough. She also doesn't overcommit just to be liked. A smart woman knows that people-pleasing slowly destroys your focus and self-respect. Saying yes to everything means saying no to your own goals, your peace, and your growth. She has learned that being nice at the cost of her energy is not kindness, it's self-neglect. She doesn't respond to every message the moment it arrives. She doesn't let notifications control her mood or schedule. She understands that urgency is often artificial. Just because someone wants something now doesn't mean it deserves her attention now. She chooses when to engage instead of being constantly pulled into other people's emotional storms. A smart woman recognizes distraction as one of the most powerful weapons of a broken world. Endless scrolling, constant drama, pointless conversations, and emotional chaos all have one goal: to keep you unfocused and exhausted. So she guards her mornings carefully. She protects the early hours when her mind is clear and her energy is strongest. She invests that time in prayer, reflection, learning, and planning, not noise. She protects her energy just as much as her schedule. She avoids people who drain her without giving anything back. She limits exposure to negativity, gossip, and unnecessary conflict. She understands that emotional exhaustion is just as damaging as physical exhaustion. Most importantly, she builds her life instead of reacting to everyone else's emergencies. She doesn't live in constant reaction mode. She sets priorities and structures her days around what actually matters. When chaos shows up, and it always does, she stays grounded because her life isn't built on impulse. And when she says no, she doesn't feel guilty. She doesn't apologize for protecting herself. She knows that every yes has a cost, even if that cost is invisible at first. Time given to the wrong people, wrong habits, or wrong priorities is time stolen from her future. A smart woman understands this deeply. Protecting your time is not selfish, it's survival. Rule 2. A smart woman knows her worth without needing validation. A smart woman does not outsource her value to the opinions of people. She understands that the moment your self-worth depends on validation, compliments, or attention, you lose control over your emotional stability. Praise makes you feel high. Silence makes you feel insecure. Criticism destroys you. She refuses to live like that. She doesn't chase attention to feel seen. She doesn't perform for approval. She doesn't constantly check who noticed her, who praised her, or who ignored her. She understands that attention is cheap, but self-respect is rare. Anyone can get attention by being loud, dramatic, or desperate. Very few can remain grounded without applause. A smart woman knows her worth because she has done the internal work. She has faced herself in silence. She has built discipline when no one was watching. She has stayed consistent even when no one was clapping. That's why her confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. She also understands the danger of validation addiction. When you need people to constantly reassure you, you become easy to manipulate. People can withhold approval to control your behavior. They can give you praise to keep you dependent. A smart woman sees this trap clearly and steps out of it. She measures herself by her principles, not by popularity. She asks herself hard questions. Am I acting with integrity? Am I growing? Am I pleasing Allah? Those answers matter more to her than trends, comparisons, or social approval. This doesn't mean she lacks emotion or sensitivity. It means she has direction. When she receives praise, she accepts it with gratitude but doesn't become intoxicated by it. When she receives criticism, she listens carefully without collapsing. She filters opinions instead of absorbing them blindly. A smart woman understands that not everyone will understand her, support her, or agree with her, and she's at peace with that. She doesn't bend her values to fit into spaces where she was never meant to belong. She would rather be misunderstood than compromise her self-respect. Most importantly, her worth is rooted in something deeper than achievement or beauty. It is anchored in her faith, her character, and her relationship with Allah. That foundation gives her stability when the world is unstable. When attention fades, when praise disappears, when people walk away, she remains whole. Because a smart woman knows this truth: when you know your worth, you stop begging for validation, and when you stop begging, you become powerful. Rule 3. A smart woman chooses character over chemistry. A smart woman understands a hard truth that many people ignore until it hurts them deeply. Chemistry is powerful, but it is not reliable. Chemistry creates excitement. It creates butterflies, emotional highs, and instant attachment. But chemistry alone does not protect you. It does not sustain you, and it certainly does not save you when life becomes difficult. She has seen or experienced what happens when attraction is mistaken for compatibility. She has watched intelligent women lose themselves chasing feelings, ignoring warning signs because the connection felt intense. A smart woman learns early that strong emotions do not mean a person is safe, stable, or sincere. Chemistry is easy, character is rare. A smart woman pays attention to actions, not words. Anyone can speak beautifully, anyone can promise change, anyone can sound convincing when they want something, but character reveals itself slowly, consistently, and often quietly. She watches how a person behaves when they are frustrated, when they are told no, when they gain power, and when no one is watching. She understands that character shows in responsibility. Does this person take accountability? Or do they always blame others? Do they keep their word, even when it costs them something? Are they respectful when there is nothing to gain? These questions matter more to her than charm or attraction. A smart woman is not impressed by confidence alone. She looks for humility. She knows that arrogance dressed as confidence is dangerous. She looks for emotional maturity, not emotional intensity. Intensity burns fast and dies fast. Maturity sustains. She also understands that attraction can blind judgment. When emotions are involved, people justify behavior they would never tolerate otherwise. Disrespect becomes misunderstanding. Inconsistency becomes being busy. Emotional unavailability becomes mysterious. A smart woman refuses to rewrite reality to protect her feelings. She does not romanticize potential. She does not fall in love with who someone could be if they changed. She evaluates who they are now. Potential without effort is fantasy, not a foundation. A smart woman also understands that chaos often feels exciting at first. Stability can feel boring to those addicted to emotional highs, but she has learned that peace is not boring, it is powerful. A calm relationship does not mean lack of passion, it means safety, trust, and emotional security. She chooses people who are consistent, not confusing. People who communicate clearly, not emotionally manipulate. People who bring calm, not constant emotional storms. She understands that love should feel safe, not anxiety-driven. This applies beyond romantic relationships. A smart woman chooses friends, mentors, and companions with character. She knows that the people around her shape her mindset, habits, and future. She does not surround herself with gossip, jealousy, or negativity, no matter how entertaining it may seem at first. She understands that loyalty, honesty, and integrity are not optional traits. They are requirements. Without them, no amount of chemistry can compensate. A smart woman also respects herself enough to walk away early. She does not wait for things to get worse to justify leaving. The moment she sees repeated red flags, disrespect, dishonesty, emotional games, lack of accountability, she disengages. Not dramatically, not angrily, but firmly. She knows that staying too long in the wrong connection slowly erodes self-worth. It teaches you to tolerate less than you deserve. It normalizes stress and confusion. A smart woman refuses to normalize dysfunction. She understands that loneliness is temporary, but regret can last a lifetime. Being alone does not scare her as much as being trapped in an unhealthy bond. She knows that solitude with peace is better than companionship with chaos. Faith plays a central role in this rule. A smart woman understands that character is deeply connected to values and Deen. Someone who fears Allah, who has moral boundaries, and who understands accountability beyond this world is far more trustworthy than someone guided only by desire or ego. She looks for alignment in values, not just attraction in personalities. She asks herself, does this person bring me closer to who I should be, or further away? Do they respect my faith, my boundaries, and my future? If the answer is unclear, she does not proceed blindly. A smart woman also understands that love is not proven by intensity, but by consistency. Real care shows up in reliability, protection, honesty, and effort over time, not in dramatic words or emotional pressure. She does not confuse attachment with love. Attachment often comes from fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of losing comfort. Love, on the other hand, is built on choice, respect, and responsibility. When a smart woman chooses character over chemistry, she may move slower than others. She may seem selective, guarded, or even too picky to people who don't understand her standards. But she knows that her standards are not arrogance, they are protection. She understands that her heart is not something to gamble with. Her time is not something to waste. Her future is not something to risk for temporary emotion. In the end, a smart woman does not chase feelings. She chooses foundations. And because of that, she builds relationships that don't just feel good in the beginning, they remain strong when life becomes real. Rule 4. A smart woman controls her emotions instead of being ruled by them. A smart woman understands something that most people misunderstand their entire lives. Having emotions is not weakness, but being controlled by them is. She feels deeply, but she does not allow her feelings to dictate her actions. She knows that emotions are information, not instructions. She has learned that the fastest way to destroy respect for yourself and from others is emotional impulsiveness. Speaking in anger, reacting out of hurt, making decisions while overwhelmed. These moments feel justified in the heat of emotion, but they often leave permanent damage behind. A smart woman pauses where others explode. She does not deny her emotions, and she does not suppress them until they turn toxic. Instead, she acknowledges them privately and processes them intelligently. When she feels angry, she asks herself why. When she feels hurt, she traces the source instead of projecting it onto others. When she feels overwhelmed, she steps back instead of pushing herself into emotional collapse. She understands that silence is often more powerful than response. Not every comment deserves an answer. Not every provocation requires defense. Not every misunderstanding needs immediate correction. A smart woman knows that reacting instantly is usually acting from ego, not wisdom. She chooses restraint over regret. A smart woman is careful with her words because she knows words cannot be taken back. She understands that once something is said in emotion, it lives forever in memory. So she trains herself to slow down. She breathes. She reflects. She chooses her response deliberately, even when her emotions are intense. She also understands that emotional self-control is deeply connected to self-respect. When you allow your emotions to control you, you hand power to circumstances and people. Anyone can push your buttons. Anyone can ruin your peace. A smart woman refuses to give that power away. She does not allow disrespect to provoke her into losing dignity. She does not allow criticism to push her into insecurity. She does not allow praise to inflate her ego. She stays centered because her identity is stable. A smart woman knows the difference between expressing emotions and dumping them. She does not overshare her pain with people who cannot protect it. She does not seek sympathy from those who secretly enjoy her vulnerability. She chooses carefully who gets access to her inner world. She understands that emotional discipline is not coldness. It is maturity. When faced with conflict, she does not escalate. She listens. She observes. She responds when she has clarity, not chaos. She knows that many arguments are won not by speaking louder, but by staying calmer. She also understands that emotional reactions are often fueled by fatigue, hunger, stress, and unresolved wounds. So she takes care of her physical and mental well-being. She rests, she reflects, she prays. She doesn't expect herself to function well while neglecting her own needs. Faith plays a critical role in her emotional control. A smart woman remembers Allah in moments of anger and distress. She understands that patience is not passive, it is powerful. She reminds herself that not everything needs an immediate reaction, and not every injustice needs her to lose her composure. She trusts that Allah sees what she does not respond to. She understands that restraint for the sake of Allah is never wasted. A smart woman also recognizes emotional manipulation when she sees it. She knows when someone is trying to provoke guilt, fear, or insecurity to control her behavior. Instead of reacting emotionally, she responds logically or disengages completely. She understands that calmness unsettles manipulators more than confrontation ever will. She does not chase closure through emotional outbursts. She knows that peace does not come from saying everything you feel. It comes from knowing when silence is wiser. She allows herself to move on without dramatic explanations. Over time, this emotional mastery changes her entire life. People take her more seriously. Conflicts decrease. Her stress levels drop. Her mind becomes clearer. Her decisions improve. She becomes someone others cannot easily shake. Most importantly, she feels safe within herself. Her emotions no longer feel like enemies pulling her in different directions. They become signals she understands and manages. A smart woman knows this truth deeply. The one who controls her emotions controls her life. Rule 5. A smart woman invests in her Deen before the world. A smart woman understands that no amount of intelligence, beauty, money, or success can replace inner grounding. She has seen what happens when people build their lives on the world alone. Anxiety increases, identity becomes fragile, and peace disappears the moment things go wrong. So she chooses a different foundation. She invests in her Deen before she invests in anything else. She does not treat faith as a background decoration or a phase of life. It is not something she turns to only in hardship or shows only in public. Her Deen is the framework through which she makes decisions, measures success, and understands herself. It shapes how she thinks, how she reacts, and how she moves through the world. A smart woman understands that the Dunya is unstable by nature. Money comes and goes. People change, status fades, plans collapse. If her sense of worth and security is tied only to these things, she will always feel anxious. But when her heart is connected to Allah, she gains a stability that does not depend on circumstances. She prioritizes her relationship with Allah even when life is busy. She protects her prayers not because she has free time, but because she understands their importance. She turns to Dunya before turning to panic. She seeks guidance before making major decisions, not after consequences appear. Her connection with the Deen is not about perfection, it is about consistency. She does not wait to feel ready to obey Allah. She understands that discipline comes before motivation, not after. Even on days when she feels tired, distracted, or unmotivated, she shows up. That consistency slowly strengthens her heart. A smart woman understands that Deen sharpens intelligence instead of limiting it. It teaches patience in a world addicted to instant results. It teaches humility in a culture obsessed with ego. It teaches restraint in a society driven by desire. These qualities protect her from making impulsive decisions that look good short-term but destroy long-term peace. She also understands that knowledge of Deen is power, not superficial quotes or emotional reminders alone, but real understanding. She learns, so she is not easily misled, emotionally manipulated, or spiritually confused. She asks questions, she reflects, she applies what she learns to her daily life. A smart woman does not measure success by worldly milestones alone, she measures it by barakah. She understands that a small life with Allah's blessing is greater than a large life without it. She would rather move slowly with clarity than run fast in the wrong direction. When trials come, and they always do, her Deen becomes her anchor. Instead of falling apart, she turns inward and upward. She understands that hardship is not always punishment. Sometimes it is purification, redirection, or protection. This mindset gives her emotional strength that others lack. She also understands that investing in Deen shapes her character. It makes her more honest, more patient, more self-aware. It teaches her to control her tongue, manage her anger, and treat others with dignity. These qualities improve every relationship in her life. A smart woman does not use religion to judge others or elevate herself. Her faith makes her softer, not harsher, more disciplined, not arrogant, more aware of her own flaws before pointing out those of others. She understands that true spirituality produces humility. She also knows that Deen protects her from chasing the wrong things. It keeps her from sacrificing her values for validation, relationships, or temporary pleasure. It reminds her that every choice has consequences beyond this life. Over time, this investment changes how she walks through the world. She becomes calmer under pressure, clearer in decisions, stronger in boundaries, less reactive to trends and opinions. She knows where she is going, even when the path is difficult. A smart woman understands this deeply. When your Deen is strong, everything else falls into place, and when it isn't, nothing ever truly does. Rule 6. A smart woman sets boundaries and enforces them. A smart woman understands that boundaries are not walls built to keep people out. They are lines drawn to protect what matters. Her time, her energy, her values, her peace. She knows that without boundaries, even the kindest person becomes exhausted, resentful, and eventually broken. She does not wait for people to figure it out. She makes her limits clear through her actions. She understands that boundaries explained repeatedly are boundaries ignored, so she speaks once calmly, and then enforces them consistently. A smart woman does not feel guilty for having limits. She understands that guilt is often programmed into people who were taught to prioritize others at their own expense. She rejects that conditioning. Respecting herself is not cruelty, it is responsibility. She recognizes a hard truth: people who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always label you as selfish when you finally set them. She does not internalize that accusation. She understands that discomfort is often the price of self-respect. A smart woman does not argue about her boundaries. She does not try to convince people why her limits are reasonable. She knows that someone who respects her does not need a debate. Someone who doesn't will never be persuaded by words anyway. She enforces boundaries through consistency, not emotion. When someone repeatedly crosses a line, she does not threaten or explode. She adjusts her access. She reduces availability. She creates distance, quietly and deliberately. She understands that boundaries reveal truth. They show you who values you and who only values what they can take from you. She pays attention to how people react when she says no. Respectful people adjust. Entitled people push harder. A smart woman also sets internal boundaries. She does not allow her thoughts to spiral into self-criticism. She does not replay disrespect endlessly in her mind. She learns when to stop engaging mentally with situations that no longer serve her. She understands that boundaries are a form of self-discipline. They require courage, especially at first. Saying no can feel uncomfortable. Disengaging can feel harsh, but she knows that short-term discomfort prevents long-term damage. She also understands that boundaries must be backed by action. Words without enforcement teach people that limits are flexible. A smart woman does not make empty statements. When a line is crossed repeatedly, she follows through. She does not fear being misunderstood. She knows that clarity is kinder than resentment, and distance is healthier than constant conflict. Faith strengthens her boundaries. She understands that she is accountable for how she allows herself to be treated. She does not tolerate behavior that contradicts her values, even if it costs her approval or companionship. Over time, boundaries transform her life. Stress decreases. Relationships become healthier. Manipulation loses its power. People treat her with more respect because she treats herself with respect. A smart woman understands this truth. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about controlling access to you. And when access is earned, not automatic, peace follows. Rule 7. A smart woman builds a future, not just a lifestyle. A smart woman understands that a comfortable life today can quietly steal from her tomorrow. She has seen people who look happy on the surface but feel lost underneath because they never planned beyond the moment. So she refuses to live on autopilot. She thinks ahead even when others are distracted by what feels good right now. She understands the difference between a lifestyle and a future. A lifestyle is about appearance, habits, and routines that feel enjoyable in the present. A future is about direction, growth, and preparation for what is coming. A smart woman enjoys life, but she never lets enjoyment replace purpose. She asks herself difficult questions regularly. Where am I going? What am I building? If my life continues like this for the next 5 years, will I be proud of it? These questions keep her honest. They force her to adjust before regret sets in. A smart woman understands that discipline today creates freedom tomorrow. She is willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term stability. While others avoid discomfort, she leans into it. She learns skills. She improves her health. She strengthens her mind. She invests time in things that will protect her future self. She does not rely on motivation alone. She understands that motivation comes and goes, but systems last, so she builds routines that support her goals even on days when she feels tired or unmotivated. She shows up consistently, not perfectly. A smart woman understands that financial awareness is part of self-respect. She does not ignore money out of fear or discomfort. She learns how to manage it wisely. She avoids unnecessary debt. She plans instead of reacting. She understands that financial stress destroys peace faster than most things. She also invests in knowledge. She reads, she reflects. She learns from people who have walked the path before her. She understands that ignorance is expensive and learning is protection. A smart woman builds herself from the inside out. She works on her mindset because she knows thoughts shape actions and actions shape outcomes. She challenges limiting beliefs. She replaces emotional excuses with responsibility. She understands that blaming circumstances keeps you powerless. She does not chase trends that distract her from her values. She knows that many lifestyles sold online are temporary illusions. What looks glamorous today often collapses tomorrow, so she focuses on stability, not validation. Faith remains central in how she builds her future. She understands that planning without Allah leads to anxiety and trusting Allah without effort leads to stagnation. She balances tawakkul with action. She plans works and then places the outcome in Allah's hands. A smart woman is patient with progress. She does not rush her growth or compare her timeline to others. She understands that real construction takes time, brick by brick, habit by habit, choice by choice. She also understands that her future is shaped by what she repeatedly tolerates, so she removes habits, environments, and people that pull her backward, not out of hatred, but out of clarity. Over time, her life begins to feel different, less chaotic, more intentional. She feels grounded because she knows why she does what she does. Her days have direction. Her sacrifices have meaning. A smart woman understands this deeply. A beautiful lifestyle without a future is a trap, but a well-built future eventually creates a life of peace, dignity, and purpose. A smart woman is not defined by how loud she speaks, how busy she looks, or how perfect her life appears online. She is defined by the quiet choices she makes every day, choices that protect her time, her values, her peace, and her future. These 7 rules are not about becoming cold or distant, they are about becoming clear about who you are, clear about what you tolerate, clear about what you tolerate, clear about what you tolerate, clear about what you are going. When clarity enters your life, chaos loses its grip. Most people drift through life reacting, pleasing, chasing, and hoping things will somehow work out. A smart woman doesn't hope blindly, she builds intentionally. She understands that strength is developed, not gifted. Peace is protected, not found. And a meaningful life is constructed, not stumbled upon. You don't need to change everything overnight. You only need to become aware. Awareness leads to better choices. Better choices lead to a stronger life. So ask yourself honestly, are you living by these rules, or are you letting the world decide for you? This is Built by Deen, and strong women are not born, they are built.